under the IBC code. So what it means? Set off permitted only during liquidation. This regulation is applicable only after liquidation is commenced under Section 33 of the IBC. It doesn't apply during the corporate insolvency resolution process. Okay. Same capacity requirement. The debts must be owned in the same legal capacity. Note and trustee. For example, this person is same. Miss company is X company. Okay, we have to pay. We have to pay, for example, 10 crore, and we have to recover. I mean, because we issued the sales invoice to the same company. So then we have to recover 4 crore. So then net amount payable to that X company is 6 crore. Okay. So means now during the CRP we will have to pay means 10 crore. We will not be able to set off that means that 4 crore from the X company. Okay, but during liquidation it is allowed. Okay, so that is the as per the provision of the IBC code. So we have to follow the rule and regulations of IBC code as the insolvency professional. So means now we are discussing what the regulation says. The regulations, as per regulation, we cannot set off during the CRP proceeding. We can set off only liquidation proceedings. Okay. Also, doesn't does not override Section 5344. After netting of mutual debts, the remaining payable amount follows the Section 53 as per liquidation waterfall. Okay. There is also a judgment. If you see, there is a judgment. Bharti Airtel and Vijay Kumar, liquidation of Aircel Limited. Regulation 29 applies only in liquidation, not in CIRP. Here, in this case also, the set-off was not allowed during the CIRP period in this judgment. And there was another judgment, is Swiss Ribbon Private Limited, Union of India, emphasized the objective of equitable treatment of creditors and the strict distribution of mechanism under IBC, which discourages any preferential treatment such as set-off outside liquidation. Okay, means outside at the time of liquidation is allowed and during CIRP not allowed. Okay, because this thing also create a dispute, because if in a normal scenario, if we are to pay 10 lakhs to any person and 4 lakh if I'm to recover, then in normal sense we will pay 6 lakh, because if I will pay 10 lakhs, okay, so then in case of liquidation, okay, why this is allowed in liquidation, why this is not allowed in CRP? The objective is this: in CRP case, what is happening? If we will pay 10 lakh rupees, that company is means able to pay anytime. Okay, so then we can recover. Okay, at the time of liquidation, so means our company will not be in existence. So that's why we will have to do full and final. So that's why, that is the reason in liquidation we have the provision for setup. Okay, so that is the main reason. Okay, now coming to the priority of tax liability in the waterfall mechanism. Okay, this is very important, because if we know the priority, okay, of tax liability, so then we can also make tax planning. Okay, and we can also manage and handle the pre-existing tax dispute, if any. Okay, see, the main thing is waterfall mechanism, Section 53. Okay, but Section 50, before going to the waterfall mechanism, Section 53, we need to remember we have to follow means resolution plan. Okay, as per Section 30. Okay, and also there is a binding nature as per section regulation 20 sorry 31. Okay, and also need to means see the definition, section 5 subsection 20, section 5, subsection 21 regarding operational debt and operational guideline. Means if we will start, first we need to know or understand the definition, section 520 and section 521, operational guideline and operational debt. Okay, then coming next step will be resolution plan. Okay, then as per section resolution plan 32 B, so that is the resolution plan. We have to follow the approved resolution plan. According to that, okay, we have to make the payment. Okay, then after approving the resolution plan, so then next step comes in the next step is binding impact as per section 31 of the resolution plan, and also moratorium starts at section as per section 14. Okay, so these are the things step by steps come into the picture when we are discussing about the tax planning, pre-existing dispute or any tax liabilities, priority of tax liabilities in the waterfall mechanism. These are the things comes, and also we have discussed there was the earlier act. Okay, the priority was first priority was given to the payment of the government dues. Okay, now after implementing, after enacting the IBC code, means different tax authority was also saying ki they have the priority in the government of statutory dues. For example, sale tax authorities, GST, customs and income tax act. So now they have also changed their means regulations. Okay, and they have also done some amendments. Okay, now in case if there is a custom act and IBC code means in case of there, and if there is any contradiction between the two laws, so then IBC code will override. Okay, in case if there is a contradiction in two laws, okay, then IBC code will override that law or that section. Okay, so now I is custom tax act also done modification, income tax also done modification, and also um, means all the other department related to the tax dues, they have also done or changes in their provisions. Okay, now coming to the priority of tax liability in the waterfall mechanism. Okay, now we will discuss in detail, because if we will follow the waterfall mechanism, we can resolve their pre-existing disputes. Okay, and also we can do proper tax planning, because we have to follow the IBC code, and under the IBC code we have to make the payment or distribution of assets as per the waterfall mechanism. Okay, now what is the waterfall mechanism under IBC? Okay, section 53 of IBC provides as to how the proceeds from the sale of liquidation assets shall be distributed in the liquidation process of a corporate entity. That is, section 53 prescribes the order of priority in distribution of sale proceeds of assets of a corporate entity in its liquidation process. Okay, for example, section 53 says distribution of assets when we will sell the assets and we have received sale proceeds. Okay, so then we will have to distribute that sale proceeds as per the waterfall mechanism, section 53, as per IBC Act. Okay, now I also will discuss with you. There is a tax liability in respect of 2 years period preceding to the liquidation commencement date have been given a separate priority than the other operational debt or the corporate debt. Okay, see here, we will consider here, for example, when we are discussing the waterfall mechanism, if we are saying ki we have to pay workmen for 24 months salary, And also, and after this, we are to pay 12 months salary to means employees. Accordingly, as per Section 53, we have to pay tax liabilities. We will have to give priority. So then we are giving priority for income tax liabilities. So then we are liable to pay tax liabilities for the last 2 years preceding the liquidation commencement day. Okay. Now Section 53 of IBC is reproduced in the following slides. Okay. We will discuss in detail. That is very important from the point of view tax planning. Now Section 53, distribution of assets. Okay. Notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained in any law enacted by the Parliament or any state legislature for the time being in force, the proceeds from the sale of the liquidation assets that shall be distributed in the flowing order of priority and within such period and in such manner as may be specified. Okay, see here means distribution of assets. The company in liquidation, company will sell their all the sell the assets, okay, and pay the liabilities, okay. When company will sell their assets, okay, so then company will have to distribute that proceeds, okay, in the flowing order of priority, okay. What is the priority? Number one, the insolvency resolution process cost and the liquidation cost paid in full. First of all, whatever you will get, your first priority of the payment will be insolvency resolution CRP and liquidation cost will be paid in full. After this, the flowing debts which shall rank equally between and among the flowing. Workmen's due for the period of 24 months preceding the liquidation commencement date. Okay. For example, in case if here workman is having dues for 25 months, okay, so definitely they will submit their claim for 25 months because there is a separate claim is submitted with resolution professional or liquidator, okay. There is a different claim form, okay. And if workman claims for 5 months, so then as per waterfall mechanism, we will have to pay only dues to workmen for a period of 24 months preceding to the liquidation commencement date. That is the criteria. Number two. And see here, now debt owed to secured creditors. In the event such secured creditor has relinquished security in the manner set out in section 52. Okay, see here. Now, see here, in this case, what will happen here in these two tiers? That will be distributed equally. For example, here claim is 1 lakh, here claim is 1 lakh. Okay. Okay. Company, I'm just giving you an example. Okay. Company is having sale proceeds only 2 lakh rupees. And the resolution is this post was pending full, say 1 lakh. So then what will happen? So 1 lakh will given to means IRP and liquidator, and that remaining 1 lakh will be distributed 50,000 out of 1 lakh. So means the flowing debts we shall rank equally between among the flowing. Okay, now this is the first rank, this is the second rank. Okay, government dues rank given fifth. See here. See here, after this rank, wages and any unpaid dues to owed to employees other than the workmen for the period of 12 months preceding the liquidation commencement date. Okay. First, CRP cost and liquidation cost. Second, workman dues for 24 months and secured creditors equally will be distributed. Equally means proportionately it will be distributed. Okay. Now, third priority is wages and unpaid other than workman employees. Okay. Means two other employees. Okay. Wages and unpaid dues owed to employees other than the workmen. Okay. For 12 months preceding the liquidation. That is the third priority. Now, financial debts owed to unsecured creditors. That is the fourth category. Okay. And in fifth category, we pay means statutory dues and tax payments. Okay. See here, the flow in dues shall rank equally between the among between and among the flowing any amount due to central government and and the state government, including the amount to be received on account of the Consolidated Fund of India and the Consolidated Fund of a state, if any in respect of the whole for any part of the period of 2 years preceding the liquidation commencement date. Okay, see here. And also here, there is a one question arise which I will discuss with you. Okay, now coming to part 2 of the fifth, we under the debts owed to secured creditors for any amount unpaid flowing the enforcement of security interest. Okay, if there is any amount, balance amount is there pertaining to the secured creditors, so will be considered here. And also in this situation also, the shall rank equally between the amongst the flowing. Okay, see here, if we have a claim 1 lakh, and we have a proceeding of rupees 1 lakh, so we will distribute proportionally 50,000. Okay. Okay. Now my another question comes. If means during your CRP after resolution passed, okay. If means that income tax issue demand notice before resolution plan, we have taken considered. Okay. So then during the CRP or liquidation, means during that period, can income tax authority do any assessment? This question arises. This also comes sometimes under dispute. See here, see, we will have to pay to tax authorities as per resolution plan, as per waterfall mechanism. Okay, we will not pay more than this. We will have to follow resolution plan, approved resolution plan and section 53 waterfall mechanism. But we cannot say that they cannot do means any assessment or means any means tax related any other activities. Okay, if they have the permission, they can do, but we will not pay. They cannot means make more demand after resolution, approved resolution. Okay, so we will have to stick as per the approved resolution plan and we will means distribute the assets proceeding as per the section 53 waterfall mechanism. Okay, now okay, now see here, any remaining debts and dues will come here, point number 6. Okay, now if there is any remaining balance will be given first preference to the preference shareholder as compared to the equity shareholder. Then last priority will be to equity shareholder. Okay, so this is the waterfall mechanism. We don't have any option to follow the waterfall mechanism as per under IBC code. Okay, we will have to stick as per the waterfall mechanism. Okay. Okay, now equal ranking, if disrupting the order of priority under this subsection shall be disregarded by the liquidator. The fees payable to the liquidator shall be deducted proportionately from the proceeds payable to each class of this recipients under subsection 1, and the proceeds to the legal spends shall be distributed after such deduction. explanation. It is hereby clarified that each stage of the distribution of proceeds. Okay, now we also discuss here about, for example, here, if we have the sale proceeds, okay, so first we will make the payment. See here, this is my fourth priority. This is my fifth priority, okay. But as we discussed above, priority will be this for financial debts, and for operational character, priority will be this fifth, okay. But payment will be given to first to the here this part as compared to the fast financial. We are now we're discussing the timing of the payment. Okay, we are not saying priority. We are saying timing of the payment will be preference will be given to the operational character over the financial debts. Okay, so that above actually we have already discussed above. Okay, now okay. It is hereby clarified that each stage of the distribution of proceeds in respect of a class of students that rank equally, each of the debts will either be paid in full or will be paid in equal proportion within the same class of expenses if the proceeds are insufficient to meet the debts in full. Okay, and the terms workman dues shall have the same meaning as assigned to it in section 323 of the Companies Act. Okay. Now, priority of tax liabilities in the waterfall mechanism. We already discussed priority is fifth as per the waterfall mechanism provided under section 53 as reproduced above. The amount payable to the central government and the state government, which include taxation dues in respect of the period of 2 years preceding the liquidation commencement date, ranks equally with the debts owed to the secured creditors for any amount unpaid flowing the enforcement of security interest 53 subsection 1 subsection E. See here. We discuss here this thing here. This thing. We discuss here this thing and this thing. Okay. Now the above dues rank is fifth place in the waterfall after the flowing debts. That have the fifth place. First, CRP cost. B, debts which rank equally workman dues for 20 months preceding LCD due to secured creditors. Okay. Their flowing debts rank equally. Third is employees dues for 12 months preceding LCD. Fourth is unsecured financial debts. Okay. So these are the fourth places. One, CRP. If I say second, this one. Third, this one. And fourth, this one. Okay. And fifth place is for operational character. Means for payment of tax liability under operational character. That is the fifth place. Okay. In the ranking under the waterfall mechanism, section 53. Okay. See here. Priority of tax liability in the waterfall mechanism. The tax dues relating to the period to prior to 24 months preceding LCD, however, fall under the clause F section 53(1) under any remaining debts and dues. Okay, see here. We have discussed here. We will give fifth rank as per waterfall mechanism section 53 for payment of taxation during means the period pertaining to prior to LCD for 24 months. Okay. If there is any taxation dues relating to the period of prior to 24 months preceding LCD, however, fall under clause F of section 53. Okay. Under any remaining debts and dues. Okay. See here. Means if there is a 24 months period will be covered here. See here. Okay. In case if any tax is still pending before 2 years, okay, so then it will be taken here. Okay. Simply, if I say my commencement date was 30, means say 1st April 26. I'm just giving example. So then what will happen here? Say LCD commencement date is 1st April 25. So before 2 years, when tax demand was, say, for last 3 years was 20,000, 50,000, 50,000. Okay. So see here, the 3 years demand was 20,000, 50,000, 50,000. So in that case, what will happen? Then 20,000 prior to 24 months tax demand will be taken here. Okay. And for last 2 years demand will be taken here. Okay. So then 1 lakh priority will be given under section 53E1. Okay. And prior to 2 years pending any tax means payment pending for tax dues, so it will be taken here under section. So then 6 priority will be given. Any remaining, that all other pending operational debts and dues will be considered here. Okay. So see, means prior to 24 months, if there is any tax payment due, so it will be considered here. Okay. Because if we know the how to means make the payment as per the priority under section 53, so then we can also means tackle the pre-existing disputes, and we can also do effective tax planning. Okay. Now see here. The above treatment of taxation dues, however, applies to only those taxation dues which are not secured. The treatment of secured taxation dues is to be made following the judgment of Honorable Supreme Court in the matter of Rainbow Papers Mills Limited, which has been dealt with the in subsequent part of this plantation. Actually, see here, there is a ambiguity. As per IBC code, will override the another act wherever is there any contradiction. Okay, this judgment is given. There is a judgment given in Supreme Court in the matter of Rainbow Papers Mills Limited. Actually, in some of the states, or in some of the mills tax authorities, uh, as per their views, is covered under secured gaiter. Okay, so then there is a problem. But if when we are dealing with IBC code, so then that IBC code must override that the another act in case of any contradiction. Okay, but here the judgment given was Supreme Court was means not as per the IBC code, means here IBC code should have override, but here the priority given for tax payment as a secured gaiter. So this judgment we will discuss in detail in next PPT. So that's why this statement here says the above treatment of taxation dues, however, applies to only those taxation dues which are not secured. Means, see, every tax dues is not a secured. Okay, because this is not a secured payment. Okay, all the taxation authority. Okay, also change their provisions. Okay, when there is any means when they are dealing with the IBC, if there is any company means under CRP and liquidation, okay, so then tax dues and these authorities will deal as per the provision of the IBC code. IBC code. Okay, So here the judgment given, we will also discuss means some of the other judgments means related to means given by Honorable Supreme Court and Delhi High Court and other courts. We will discuss in detail. Okay. See here. Tax liabilities, whether secured or unsecured. Okay. That is the means issue. There is a dispute whether we should treat tax liability as a secured or unsecured. We will discuss in detail here. See here. Tax liability under different laws. There are different laws for example, Custom Act, Income Tax Act, and CGST Act. Okay. What Custom Act says? Custom Act says Section 142A doesn't confer or create first charge on the due payable except under IBC. Okay. Means as per Custom Act also, they don't have secure comes in the previous secured character. Okay. Income tax itself also says the act doesn't provide any provision creating of first charge. Okay. Income tax itself also clears that doesn't provide any provision for creation of first charge. Okay. See here, custom section 148 doesn't confirm or create first charge only due payable except under IBC. Okay. See here. And another act is CGST Act. CGST Act section 82 of the Act provisions provides for the tax to be first charged on property, except under IBC. Okay. See here, we will discuss in detail. Tax liability under other laws. Custom Act. Section 142A. Liability under Act is to be first charged, notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained in any central act or state act, any amount of duty, penalty, interest, or any other sum payable by an SSC or any other person under this act shall save or otherwise provided in section 52(9)(a) of the Companies Act, the recovery of debts due to bank and financial institution 1983, 51 of 1983, and the Surface Act, okay, and the IBC code. Okay. So see here, Custom Act, Section 142A, liability under Act to be first charge, accept these Act. Okay. So then this Act also don't say that they have the first priority and they will also covered under security category. Okay. Income tax also already explained, they don't have the provision. Okay. They don't have any provision for creating first charge. Okay. Now, another one is CGST Act. Section 82, tax to be first charge on property, notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained in any law for the time being forced, save as otherwise provided in the IBC code, any amount payable by a taxable person and in the person or on account of tax, interest, or penalty in which he is able to pay to the government shall be a first charge on the property of such time. Means, as per CGS Act also, there is exemption here when CGST Act dealing with IBC code. So then they are also saying they don't have first charge on means property or any tax. Okay. So means all the tax also confirming they don't have the first priority when IBC code under the CRP or and liquidation proceeding of the any company or any entity. Okay. Now, role of tax authorities in the insolvency resolution process. Now, when we are discussing about the role of taxation authorities in the insolvency process, so what should be done by the tax authorities? First of all, income tax dues are considered as a operational tax, which we have discussed as per section 5/2021. So income tax authority have to submit their claim with IRP or resident professional. If they will not file their claim with IRP or RP, what will happen? So then, in case, because that IBC code is a time bound, And if any means resolution plan approved by the Honorable NCLT court, then what will happen? Then they will not be able to means submit their claim, and they will not be able to get any amount. Okay, and also there is also means some cases we have seen, if I'm a IRP or organization professional, I will go through the balance sheet. If I come to know that there are tax authorities and the dues are pending, okay, so then the organization professional can also approach to the authorities. So they can ask, can issue letter ki your means dues are pending and you should submit your claim. So this thing can happen, but intention is that ki if we will get all the claims, so then registration profession or liquidator will process all the claims, and means according to the IBC code, if approved resolution plan by NCLT code, then these stakeholders which not submitted their claim in a time bound period, they will not be able to submit the claim, and they will not get any means proceeding when this when companies assets will be sold. So then they will not be able to get any means their dues. Okay, and now what should be the role of the tax authorities? Income tax dues are considered as a operational debt under the IBC code. The tax authority should file their claim with IRP or RP within a specified time period, along with all supporting documents. Okay, see here, for example, if tax authorities not submitted their claim along with supporting documents, so then what will happen? RP will not approve that approve that claim. So then there will be a dispute, because that tax authority will say कि we have means pending tax liability is this much. Okay, but as per submitted documents or supporting documents are not means supporting the claim. So then resolution professional have the right to reject the claim or reduce the claim on the basis of supporting documents. So there will be chances of creation of dispute. So then that's why tax authority must submit their supporting documents with IRP or RP in a time bound period. So means IRP and resolution professional liquidator can verify claim, and the same can be taken, okay, in the resolution plan or in under the waterfall mechanism section 53. Okay, after this, they should respect also moratorium provisions. When moratorium starts, so further demand notice for any tax liabilities cannot be, any proceeding against company cannot be done. Okay, they should check that their dues are considered in the resolution plan as per the entitlement. Okay, if not, then they can approach to IRP or RP. Okay, for an in example, if in case if RP, if they are not satisfied, that's tax authority, if a claim is is due to any reason, if they are also not satisfied with RP, then they can also go to the NCLT. Okay, they should abide by the provision of the approved resolution plan. So these are the steps, these are the things which this is the role of the tax authorities which need to follow. Okay, means first income tax dues are considered as operational debt. This is the first step. Tax authority should file their claim. Second step, submit their claim and always supporting document. Should also respect the moratorium provision. Should also check their claim is means considered under resolution plan or not. Okay. If not, so then they can approach to the resolution professional if required. So they can means provide the supporting document, but within a time frame. Okay, because claim is submitted within a 14 days and they can react, they can ask. So these are the time bound period. So tax authority will have to take care for the time period. They should also abide the provision of the approved resolution plan. Now coming to now now we will discuss the different cases. So it will be better. Means for the purpose of better understanding, with the help of judgment, we can understand what should be the tax treatment and how we can deal with the pre-existing dispute and how can we means treat the pending taxability under IBC. Okay, see whether the assessment order and demand notice can be issued to the management who takes over the existing business under IBC. See, there is a case, the Delhi High Court in National Swing Thread Company Limited versus Deputy Commissioner CIT 2024 on relying on the Ghanshyam Mishra and Sons Private Limited has held that AO cannot raise tax demand after company was revived and rehabilitated by new management under IBC. That was a very means good judgment. For example, in case of liquidation, companies means company assets will be sold. Okay, and in case if CIRP, okay, so then after CRP means when new management is taking over the company, okay, after this revival, so then tax authority can issue demand notice that was pertaining to that means means for CRP period or before the CRP period. Is that allowed? So answer is no. Okay. It was noted that upon approval of resolution plan, new management took over SSC's company in order to implement resolution plan as per the scheme of IBC on a clean slate basis. Okay. It was noted that upon approval of resolution plan, new management took over SSC company in order to implement resolution plan as per the scheme of IBC on a clean slate basis. Once the resolution plan was duly approved by the AA under section 31, 1 of IBC 2016, claims as approved in the resolution plan shall stand frozen and it would be binding on the corporate debtor and its employees, members and creditors, including central government, any state government or any local authority, grantors and the other stakeholders. Since the successful resolution applicant started running their SSC company business on a fresh rate. So, impugn order and demand notice were to be set aside. Demand cannot be issued in the name of the successor company. Okay. When there was a resolution plan, okay, the payment has been done as per the resolution plan. If a new management is coming and taking over the business, or whatever the management is going forward will run the business, in that case, because they are going to start their business from starting. In that case, demand cannot be issued, okay, to the new management or after the CRT pertaining to the period of means before means CRP or CRP or before resolution period. So then the demand cannot be issued to the company. So that is means judgment given by the Delhi High Court. Okay. Has had that AO cannot raise tax demand after company was revived and rehabilitated by new management. This is the important thing. Means assessing officer here. Assessing officer cannot raise tax demand after company was revived and rehabilitated by the new management. So means in this judgment, Delhi High Court given the judgment in the matter of National Swing Thread Company Limited versus Nifty CIT 2024. Means question was this ki whether the assessment order and demand notice can be issued to the new management who takes over the existing business under that is also the part of the dispute. Okay, if they raise the demand, okay, so then this is also a dispute, okay, which they cannot do. Okay, no. Then we will also discuss further judgments on this matter. Once the resolution plan is approved, whether reassessment notice under section 147, 148 of Income Tax Act can be issued or not. See, see, this there is another judgment also. We will go in detail. But see, when the resolution plan is already approved and we have acted as per resolution plan, we have done taken step as per resolution plan. We have made the payment as per the approved resolution plan, and resolution plan was approved by COC, and after approval by COC, the same resolution plan was approved by NCLT court, and we have resolution professional already means acted as per approved resolution plan. So then after approved resolution plan, the assessment notice under section 147 102 Income Tax Act cannot be issued. Okay, because we have already done the payment, or we have already considered the payment in the resolution plan as per IBC code. Okay, so then when approval plan is approved, so then we will company is bound to make the payment to operational creditor, operational creditors as per resolution plan. In that case, income tax department or any other stakeholder cannot issue any notice or any other demand. See here what happens in this case. The Delhi High Court in Ario Fiber Private Limited versus in ITD Income Tax Department 2024 has held that any liability other than those specified in the RP. Okay, that see here that any liability here, that any liability other than those specified in the resolution plan which is pertaining to the period prior to the resolution plan, okay, is bad in law and to be set aside. Okay, that means when there is approved resolution plan, we have means paid our own liability till the resolution plan under the IBC code. So prior to the resolution plan, no authority, no creditor can ask any demand pertaining to prior period of resolution plan. If any notice given or any assessment notice is given, any demand notice is issued by the any authority, okay, prior to the resolution plan, approved resolution plan, that will be set aside by the court as per the IBC code. Okay, see here what happens here. In this sad matter, notice for reassessment was issued under section 148 AD, which pertained to a period prior to the acceptance and approval of the resolution plan. Okay, see here. Okay, in view of decision in case of Committee of Creditors of SR Limited versus Tish Kumar Gupta, that successful resolution, the applicant couldn't be foreclosed with any liability other than those which were specified and factored in resolution plan and which might pertain to a period prior to the resolution plan itself having been approved in order 30th July 2020 issued under section 148 was to be set aside. Okay, see here, the simple thing is this key: if there is a resolution plan which is already approved by the honorable authority by AA, so then in that case, if there is any assessment or reassessment or any demand notice cannot be issued by any authority which is prior to which which pertains and prior to the resolution, approved resolution plan. Okay, so that was the case. Earlier case was means assessment or a demand notice can be issued by the to the new management. So answer was no. In the case also, in case if there is a reassessment, okay, a notice and demand notice cannot be issued pertaining to the prior to the period of RP. Okay, there is also another important judgment on this part also. See here. There is another judgment also given by Honorable Delhi High Court in the present matter held that MTech Developers Private Limited versus National Faceless Assessment Centers. Okay. High Court of Delhi 24. Assessments after approval of a resolution plan. Okay. So what happens after means they have done assessment after approving the resolution plan. So what will be the impact? What as per the judgment given by Delhi High Court, the section 144B, 144B of the income tax powers initial proceedings for the assessment, reassessment, or recomputation being initiated in terms of the faceless procedure of assessment as prescribed therein. Okay, okay. Any efforts to assess, reassess, or any recomputation would tend to lean towards a computation of liabilities which otherwise stands free by virtue of the resolution plan having been approved. Such an action or recourse would clearly be barred by Section 31 of the IBC. Okay, see here. Why? Because moratorium starts when that application accepted by the Honorable Court. And if and they also a resolution plan approved. Okay. In case of means more tax liability or anything change, will in that case we will not be able to means act as per the resolution plan. So after approving resolution plan, nothing can be changed. And if any, for example, if the assessment or reassessment was given by the tax authority and demand notice was 5 crore, and we have already considered in resolution plan 5 crore. If they are doing reassessment or recomputation in case, okay, if there is any change, for example, if they have raised their demand to 6 crore, 5 to 5 to 5 crore, so these action recourse clearly be barred by Section 31 of the IBC. Okay, and a Section 144B action is what the Supreme Court upon and choose to describe the Hydra had, and thus being contrary to the clean slate principle which IBC advocates. Referring Dishnet Wireless Limited versus the Assistant Commissioner of Income Tax, SC held that the IBC doesn't erect different levels of protection and or insulation dependent upon whether corporate insolvency has been initiated voluntarily or on the basis of a petition referable to Section 7 of the IBC. The tax authority cannot sustain the invocation of Section 144B based on their own failure to lodge a claim within its time stipulated. Okay, see here. Means in this situation, there is a mistake at the end of the tax authority. Why they have not done or submitted the claim as per the stipulated time given as per the IBC Act. So that's why that is the failure at the end of the tax authority. Okay, now impact of moratorium on tax liability. Okay, we will discuss. Okay. See, impact of moratorium on tax liabilities. The moratorium period provided by the IBC aims to hold tax proceeding or corrective actions against a corporate debtor during the moratorium period. Proceeding for recovery of tax would fall within the ambit of the moratorium. Okay. The apex court in Sundaresh Bhatt emphasizes that the tax department only have limited jurisdiction to assess or determine the quantum of tax and other levies. Okay. Even though various circulars issued by the tax administration have echoed this sentiment, it is not uncommon to see actions being undertaken by the tax department, including search, seizure operations while the resolution plan is under progress. Okay, there is a need for strict adherence to the moratorium orders to uphold the spirit of the IBC. A unified approach is required to align actions with regulatory guidelines. Means when moratorium starts, so then there should not be any legal action cannot be taken by any authority against the company, and that is the impact of moratorium. Now we'll understand here in the matter of Sudarshan Bhatt, liquidator of ABG Shipyard versus Central Board of Indirect Tax and Custom. SE Supreme Court has held that IBC would prevail over the Custom Act. It is very clear. The IBC would prevail over the Custom Act, Income Tax Act, okay, and GST Act, to the extent that once moratorium is imposed in terms of Section 40 or 33(5) of the IBC, the respondent authority only has a limited jurisdiction to assess, determine the quantum of custom duty and other liens. Okay, they have the limited jurisdiction. Okay, the court observed that the issuance of demand notice to seek enforcement of custom dues during the moratorium period would clearly violate. Okay, when moratorium starts, okay, so then court observed that the issuance of demand notice to seek enforcement of custom duties during the moratorium would clearly violate the provision of Section 14 or 33(5) of the IBC. The demand notice are an initiation of legal proceeding against the corporate debtor CD. Thus, the SC has fairly settled the recovery of tax dues cannot be made otherwise than in the matter of the prescribed under the IBC. The court has importantly observed that authorities could, however, initiate assessment or reassessment of the duties or other levies. The resolution profession has an obligation to ensure that the assessment is legal, and he has sufficient power to question any assessment if he finds the same to be excessive. Okay, see here they can do assessment, okay, and reassessment, that is okay, but they cannot take any legal action, okay, as per the judgment also. In this said matter, just hold on, just hold on. Okay, in this said matter, just a 1 minute. Okay. In this said matter, the court relied on the ratio of the judgment of in SV Onsar versus VM Deshpande 1972 Supreme Court 878, wherein the court had held that the authorities can only take steps to determine the tax, interest, fines, or any penalty which is due. However, the authority cannot enforce a claim for recovery or levy of interest on the tax due during the period of moratorium. Okay, which we have already discussed. An authority, as per their provisions, they can do assessment, reassessment, recalculation. Okay, they can do. There is no problem. But the authority cannot enforce a claim for recovery in the moratorium period. Okay, means they cannot take legal action. If any type of legal action cannot be taken by any authority, if they have their claim, they can submit their claim as per standard procedure, as per the IBC code. Okay, and that claim is approved as per by IRP or RP as per the provision of the IBC code. So then the payment will be done as per IBC code. But when any application is accepted by the Honorable Supreme Court, Honorable NCLT Court, so then moratorium starts. Then there is no provision, no authority can take further legal action, no case can be means file against the company when moratorium starts. Okay, moratorium starts, they can file their claim as per their demand notice and means as per their demand notice. But they can also do assessment reassessment, but they cannot recover that amount. Okay. For example, if there is an approved valuation plan, okay, so already considered the tax due amount. But if they have done the assessment or reassessment or any recalculation, if that claim increased by the authority, that cannot claim cannot be considered, will not be considered as well as per the IBC code. Okay. Now there is an ambiguity in the treatment of statutory dues under IBC relevant judgments. Okay, the judgments given under the IBC code, the different authorities given, means Supreme Court given judgment, High Court given judgment, NCLT court given judgment, NCLAT given judgment, but there is also ambiguity in the treatment of statutory dues under IBC. We also earlier discussed their rainbow case. The rainbow case is also called as a means ambiguity. Why we say ambiguity? In every judgment or every matter pertaining to the IBC code, IBC code will means override the other act or override the clause when there is a contradiction. But and there is a tax or any other operational dues are not a secured creditor and don't come under the category of the secured creditor. But in rainbow case, they have considered the tax dues as a secured creditor because as per the Gujarat GST Act says कि if there is any tax demand as per this act, that is covered under secured creditor. We will discuss in detail all the further cases here. There is a Ghanshyam Mishra and Sons Private Limited, Aduless Assets Reconstruction Company Limited. Okay, see here. Here, the Honorable Supreme Court has considered the scope of Section 31(1) of the IBC and has held that once the resolution plan is sanctioned under Section 31(1) of the IBC, the claims provided in the plan will stand frozen. All the claims that are not part of the plan will be essentials. Okay. Now, as per this judgment, very clearly states claims provided in the plan will be frozen. All such claims that are not considered, that are not the part of the resolution plan, will be extinguished. Will be extinguished. Okay. Okay. Mhm. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Now it is settled law under the IBC that the income tax dues are in the nature of operational character as defined in the section 520 of the IBC. We have already discussed here in very starting. All the income tax dues are covered under the section 520 of the IBC. Okay, now once a resolution plan is duly approved by the adjudicating authority under subsection 1 of section 31, the claims as provided in the resolution plan shall stand frozen. They will be binding on the corporate debtor and its employees, members, creditors, including central government, state government, or any other other local authority, grantors, and other stakeholders on the date of approval of the resolution plan by the adjudicating authority. All such claims that are not a part of the resolution plan shall stand extinguished, and no person will be entitled to initiate or continue any proceeding with respect to a claim which is not part of the resolution. It's very clear. Okay, because whatever the resolution plan as per IBC code NCLT approved, that is the binding impact on all the stakeholders. On the all the stakeholders means whether it's corporate debtor, whether it's employee, whether it's member, whether it's creditor, whether it's financial creditor, whether if there is a dues pending to central government, state government, or local authority guarantors. Okay, the binding effect will be this. After approving the resolution plan, there will be a binding impact on all the stakeholders. Okay, that is very clear. The, the 2019 amendment to section 31 of the IBC code is clarifactory and regulatory in the nature and therefore will be effective from the date on which the IB code has come into effect. Okay. Now, consequently, all the dues, including the statute dues, okay, including statute dues, owed to the central government and state government or any local authority, if not part of the resolution plan, shall stand exemption and no proceeding in respect of such due for the prior period to the date on which the adjudicating authority grants its approval under section 31 could be continued as a what happens, what it means. For example, if any stakeholder, any operational character, any government authority, any agency not submitted your claim on time, okay, and or if and due to this, and also there is another case also if you have submitted the claim but without supporting document or not submitted with proper supporting document, if their claim is not means verified or passed as per the IBC Act. So that will not be the part of the resolution plan. If that is not the part of the resolution plan, okay. And another case also, if that authority not submitted their dues on or before time as per this act, or another option is this: if resolution plan approved, if any authority want to submit their claim, okay, after passing the resolution plan, so that is not allowed. After passing resolution plan, further not any claim will be entertained as per the IBC code. Okay, so that in this judgment also says कि whatever claim submitted with IRP, RP, okay, and considered or verified after verification or checking the claims approved by the IRP or RP, okay, and taken in the resolution plan, and the resolution plan is approved by the COC, and after COC approval, resolution plan is approved by the NCLT court. So then these claims will be frozen. There will not be any change in these claims amount or in claims. Okay. And whatever these other claims, those claims which are not the part of the plan, okay, will not be considered and will be extinguished. That is clearly stated in the judgment means presented by the Honorable Supreme Court for Ghanshyam Mishra and Sons versus Eduless Asset Reconciliation Limited. Okay, means this emphasizes that whatever the claims are considered in resolution plan, that is fine. Okay. Now, and see here, these cases also help us to resolve any pre-existing dispute or any liability. How to deal? Okay, that is the means these are the cases which really helps us. Okay, if means understanding all these judgments, we can take decision and we can also handle and manage if there is any existing disputes related to taxability. Because when we are clear, when moratorium starts, any tax authority cannot take any legal action. After resolution plan, no tax authority is allowed to submit their claim. So all those things really helps, and also tax authority can also submit their claim, and as per the this IBC code, we will pay up to 2 years. Okay, under the category of 5. If more than 2 years, then we will consider after under the category of 6, means other debts. Okay, so these are the judgment helps us, and also, for example, now we are also understanding key tax dues are secured or unsecured. If no, in normal sense, we will say ki all the tax dues or government authority dues are unsecured. Okay. But there is a substantive judgment given by Supreme Court in Rainbow Paper Limited. So we will also understand ki, why that judgment given on that facts. What was the reason? We will also understand. Okay, so there is also an ambiguity in the judgment. Okay, so that's why we are going through the and studying these judgments. So these judgments also help us to take decision, and we can also do effective tax planning. And if there is any pre-existing dispute, we can handle them easily in the light of these judgments. And if there is any we can also take decision how to deal the treatment of any pending tax liabilities. Okay, so that judgments also helps us very much. Okay, for handling these type of issues. Now, see here, Committee of Creditors of SR Limited and Satish Gupta, Kumar Gupta. Okay, there is a judgment given in 2019. This is the case. Okay, see here, we will also first we will discuss this one, and state tax officer and labor proposal. Okay, see here. This judgment is also really very important. State tax officer Rainbow Papers Entry, we will discuss here. Why there is ambiguity. See here, Committee of Creditors of ISAR Limited, Steel India Limited, Satish Kumar Gupta, a successful resolution applicant cannot suddenly be faced with the undecided claims after the resolution plan submitted by him. He has been accepted, as this would amount to a head popping up, which would throw into uncertainty amounts payable by a prospective resolution applicant who would successfully take over the business of the corporation. All claims must be submitted to and decided by the RP, so that a prospective resolution applicant knows exactly what has to be paid in order to take over and run the business of the corporate debtor. This is the case successful resolution that applicant doesn't a fresh slate, as has been pointed out by a hearing above. For these reasons, NCLT judgment must also be set aside on this count. See here, a successful resolution applicant can't suddenly be faced with undecided claims after the resolution plan submitted by him. He by him has been accepted. See here, we have already discussed here. This judgment is also very important. Also clearly states that all of a sudden any claim submitted by any stakeholder cannot be accepted when already resolution plan, already approved resolution plan is there. So we cannot means RP or resolution professional cannot accept any claims, because when resolution plan is approved, then the resolution applicant knows ki what are the payment is to be paid. If all of a sudden if someone is submitting the claim, so then what will happen? Resolution applicant will have to pay more money. But that is not means okay. Also in the terms of the IBC code, because you cannot change the resolution plan. How can you take this decision? No person, resolution professional cannot take decision. Means when COC approved resolution plan, NCLT also approved that resolution plan. So then in case of if any means claim all of a sudden cannot be submitted, and if all of a sudden is submitted, then resolution professional is not means will not accept. Okay, so that was stated in this judgment. Committee of Creditors are limited. Satish Kumar Gupta. Okay, now coming to this here. Now this is very important judgment. Means every time, so many times in normal life, and in the professional insurance professional, we discuss this judgment very oftenly. That is very important judgment. State tax officer versus rainbow paper center. See here, as we know, the tax demand and tax liability is not a secured creditor. Is not comes under the preview or under the category of the secured creditor. Now, what happens here? Rainbow Papers Limited, the corporate debtor had defaulted on the payment of amount towards value added tax and central tax under the Gujarat Value Added Tax 2003, Section 48 of the GVAT, Gujarat VAT Act, creates first charge in favor of the state tax department on the property of the defaulter. Okay, for any outstanding amounts payable to unpayable under the GVAT Act set out below is Section 48 of the GVAT Act. Okay, see here. Means above we have discussed so many authorities, means custom and GST Act 2017, Income Tax Act. So they are not saying they have the first charge on the property. They are also saying when IBC code is there, so then their tax due and tax liability will not be uh, under the category of secured creditors. But in this case, what happens? GVAT Act Section 48 says that they have the first charge on the assets when they are dealing the sale tax. Okay, sale tax. See here, Section 48 of the GVT Act creates first charge in favor of the state tax department on the property of the defaulter for any outstanding amounts payable under the GVAT Act. That out below is Section 48. Okay, so see here, so it says first charge, then that what it means. That outstanding is coming under the preview of under the category of the secured creditor. Okay, now we will also understand further. Tax to be first charge on property, not withstanding anything to the contrary contained in any law for the time being in force, any amount payable by a dealer or any the person or account of tax interest or penalty for which he is liable to pay to the government shall be a first charge on the property of such dealer, or as this case may be such person. Okay, see here. The Committee of Creditors of Rainbow Papers Limited had approved the resolution plan submitted by Ushan Limited jointly with Sandeep Agarwal. Subsequent to the approval of the resolution plan by the Committee of Creditors, the State Tax Authority had filed claim in respect of pending dues. Okay. Subsequent, when resolution plan is approved by the Committee of Creditors, the State Tax Authority had filed claims in respect of pending dues with the resolution professional of Rainbow Paper Limited. The resolution professional informed that State Tax Authority that its claim has been waived under the resolution plan. The resolution professional of Rainbow Paper Limited filed an application before the National Company Law Tribunal for approval of the resolution plan. In this application, the state tax officer filed an interim application contending that government dues cannot be waived off in the resolution plan. Okay. Then NCLT. The objection against the resolution plan was not maintainable. given that the resolution plan was already approved by the COC. Okay, just a moment. Okay, here in this case, what happened? In this case, the Rainbow Paper Limited, Rainbow Paper Limited, the corporate debtor has defaulted on the payment of amounts. Okay, now state tax officer as per GVAT Act says if the resolution plan was approved by the COC and after this resolution professional confirmed that that government dues waived off in the resolution plan. So then state tax officer means the department submitted their application with the NCLAT and asked these statutory dues, okay, cannot be waived off. So then NCLT given the judgment that resolution plan was not maintainable. The objection was that the resolution plan was not maintainable given the resolution plan was already approved by the committee of creditors. Okay, so they rejected their means application. Then the GVAT means the state tax department submitted their application with NCLAT and says section 48 of the GVAT Act doesn't prevail over section 53 of the IBC code. Okay, and that the government cannot claim first charge over the assets of the Rainbow Papers Limited. Subsequently, the sales tax officer filed an application before the Supreme Court against the decision of NCLT. Okay, see here, when they submitted their application with NCLT, they asked, means they have the first charge on the property. So means their plea was this key they comes into the secured creditors. But as per NCLT says ki as per section 53 of the IBC have and also override the section 48 of the GVAT and NCLAT also rejected their application. Okay, on that basis. Okay, means state government wanted means that Gujarat as per the state officer, assessing officer, or I can say that sales tax department was asking or saying ki they have the first charge on the means defaulter assets and they comes in the category of the secured creditors. That's why means they have the means right to claim under the secured creditors. But as per IBC code override the other act when there is any contradiction. And in this case, resolution plan was also approved by COC, and on that basis, also resolution professional is confirmed the waived of their demand or that means demand or tax liability. So they submitted their application with NCLT. Okay, they also rejected. When they rejected, so then NCLT also confirmed that section 53 prevail, the section 48. And in other words, I will say that NCLT stated that section 48 doesn't prevail over section 53 of IBC and the government cannot claim first charge. Okay. So then state tax officer filed an application before the Supreme Court against the NCLT. Then here come to the NCLAT. Okay. Supreme Court held. See, when they have listened both the parties, okay, and they have given the decision on that basis. Supreme Court held a charge created under a statute would create a security interest in favor of the statutory authority, making such statutory authority a charge holder and thereby a secured creditor. Okay. Now, if we say this is not as per the IBC Act, if I will read this statement, now coming to this further, Section 48 of the GVT Act is not inconsistent with the Section 53 or any other provision of the IBC. The debt arising out of or in connection with GVAT Act will be secured debt and will fall under Section 53 1B2 of the IBC, which provides for priority of dues to secured creditors. Okay, we have already discussed waterfall mechanism, Section 53. Okay, the priority is given to the government assisted to is means priority is given on fifth number, but in case of secured creditor, so the priority as per this judgment will fall under the category of 53 1B and subsection 2. Thus, the Supreme Court set aside the NCLT's order along with the approved resolution plan, okay, and providing the resolution professionals with an opportunity to consider fresh resolution plan. Now, what happens here? Supreme Court given judgment कि as per Section 48 of GFT Act is not inconsistent with Section 53 or any other provision of the IBC. Okay, see, as per IBC code, IBC means code override the other act or other section when there is a contradiction. Here, the Supreme Court considered their plea of this sales tax officer, and they have accepted this application and asked resolution professional give the opportunity to the sales tax authority and sales tax department, and also consider for a fresh resolution plan. Okay, so that judgment is given by the Supreme Court, which was means against the judgment given by the NCLT or NCLAT. Okay, so that what it means here, if we see here, here in this case, tax due or tax liability is considered as a secured creditor. Wherever in all the above cases, all the above sections, whatever we have discussed, we discussed in detail ki all the tax dues and liabilities are means operational means debt, and that is not covered under the category of the security secured creditors. But in this judgment, they have Supreme Court considered that tax liability and tax due under the category of the secured creditors. Okay. See here, why we are saying there is an ambiguity. See here, we started this chapter. Ambiguity in the treatment of the statutory dues under the IBC limit judgments. Now see here, we have discussed here this judgment, rainbow paper limited. Now coming to the next judgment. See here, why we are saying there is ambiguity. In this case, when in this judgment they have not considered the first charge. So in this case, okay, so then we can say there is ambiguity. See here, we will discuss in detail, so we will be able to understand here. See here, there is a Paschimichan Vidyut Vitran Nigam Limited, PVVNL, okay, had entered into an agreement with Raman Ispat Private Limited for the supply of electricity. Okay, see here, means that company have an agreement with Raman Ispat Private Limited, okay, supply of state of electricity. Raman Ispat failed to repay. Okay, that company failed to repay, may repay the electricity bill to Vidyut Nigam Limited. Okay, attach the property of Raman Ispat under clause of 4.3 of the Uttar Pradesh Electricity Supply Code 2025. The outstanding electricity dues constituted a charge on the asset of the debtor in favor of the state tax department. Okay. Means they're saying the outstanding electricity dues constitute a charge on the asset of the debtor in favor of the state tax department. Okay. See here. Now, Uttar Pradesh Electricity Supply Code 205, the outstanding dues will be first charged on the assets of the company, and the lessor shall ensure that this is entered in an agreement with the new applicant. Okay. Now, okay. As a part of recovery proceeding initiated by PBVL, the Tehsildar created an attachment over the asset of the Daman Ispat by way of its order 23 January 2016. Subsequently, the CRP in respect of Raman Ispat commenced on 11th April 2017. Under the provision of the IBC, the COC rejected the plan and NCLT 11 passed an order for commencement of liquidation proceeding. The liquidator approached the NCLT for setting aside the of the attachment order to be able to sell the assets of the Raman Ispat under liquidation proceeding under the IBC. The Honorable NCLT directed the Treasurer to release the attached property to enable the liquidator to sell the property and distribute the proceeds of the sale in accordance with the provision of IBC. This order of the NCLT was also upheld by the Honorable NCLT. Aggrieved by this order of the NCLT, PBVNL filed an appeal before the Honorable Supreme Court. Okay, now, what was the judgment given by the Supreme Court in this particular judgment? In this case, Apex Court ruled Section 238 of the IBC bestowed an overriding effect upon IBC, even in the face of the non-offense clause in the Electricity Act 2003. Consequently, Section 173, 174 of the Electricity Act had no say, and given that the company was already under moratorium, the IBC process should proceed. The court overturned the notion establishing the rainbow judgment and stated that the rainbow judgment had disregarded the waterfall mechanism outlined in Section 54 of the IBC. The court found fault with the reasoning behind the earlier decision and highlighted its potential negative impact on investment in entities indebted to the government bodies. Thus, it reverted to the previous status of the waterfall mechanism and ordered the liquidator of IRPL to settle the preliminary dues as per the provision of the IBC. See here. Now, see here. Honorable Supreme Court in the PGN matter held further, the Honorable Supreme Court distinguished statutory dues from government dues and held that not all dues owned under a statute would amount to government dues. The statutory corporations created under a statutory are distinct juristic entities. The statutory corporation, the dues may be of operational, financial, and or secured in nature. Depending upon the underlying transaction, such statutory corporation might have government participation, but these are not the government authorities. These dues of PVN will be treated secured operational dues in view of provision of the Electricity Supply Code. Okay, they will treat as secured operational dues. For instance, in the PVN judgment, PVN was supplying electricity in Daman Ispat, which is not a statutory function, given that electricity can be supplied by private entities as well as given this, the Honorable Supreme Court held that the dues owed to PVNL were not government dues. Okay, because PVNL was not a government authority. Okay, see here. While distinguishing the government dues from the statutory dues, the Supreme Court observed that the dues which are payable or required to be credited to the treasury, such as tax, tariffs, etc., broadly fall in the ambit of the Article 265 of the Constitution of India, are government dues. Given the PVNL was not performing a statutory function, the Supreme Court held that its due will not give amount to government dues. Okay, these are not the government dues. Now, what judgment was given? Supremacy of the IBC over the Electricity Act. Okay, if there is an electricity act, if there is any private company is running that business, and if any private company is providing the electricity to the another company, okay, so then IBC code override that another act. Okay, the Supreme Court relied on Sudarshan Bhatt, regulator of ABG, Shipyard and Central Bank of Board of Interest, Indirect Tax and Customs to uphold the supremacy of the IBC over the Electricity Act. Okay. Now, in this case, the authority Central Board of Indirect Tax and Custom was stopped from recovering its dues through sales or confiscation of assets of the corporate actor. The Supreme Court held that IBC would prevail over Customs Act 1968 and the authority under the Custom Act cannot initiate recovery. We have already discussed this case here. Above this case we have discussed. Okay, see, IBC code have would prevail over Custom Act 1962 and the authority under the Custom Act cannot initiate recovery of dues during the period of moratorium. In the same preliminary judgment, the Supreme Court ordered the Tehsildar to remove the attachment over the assets of the Daman Ispat in view of the applicability of the moratorium during the liquidation process. See here, what happens in railroad judgment, the Supreme Court stated that they have the first charge. So then this amount will come under the category of the secured creditors. Now here they are saying कि IBC code prevail here. IBC code would prevail over Custom Tax Act. IBC would prevail over the Electricity Act as per the judgment given in above cases. So when moratorium start here also, so they have given the direction to Tehsildar to remove the attachment over the asset of the Daman Ispat in view of the applicability of moratorium. Means they said that when moratorium already started, so then no action against company can be taken. Okay, so in this judgment they ask ki IBC code is superior and supreme. When there is any contradiction between Electricity Act and the IBC code, IBC code would prevail over the Electricity Act. So then they have given the direction to remove the attachment over the assets. Okay, in the preliminary judgment. But what happened in the Rainbow judgment? In Rainbow judgment, they said, Supreme Court said, the they have the means let's say see here see here yes here see here in this they as per Supreme Court they asked as per Section 58 GVAT Act creates first charge in favor of the State Tax Department on the property on the defaulter of any outstanding loans. So they have taken this thing. So in this judgment, they asked कि there is no inconsistency between it means that Gujarat Act and IBC code. So in that case, they have asked to change the resolution plan, fresh resolution plan. So means in the Rainbow Paper Limited case, they have means given the priority to the sale tax act. And here what happened in this case, they have asked कि IBC have the means supremacy. So in this case, the claim will be settled as per the IBC code. So that is the ambiguity. Okay. While distinguishing government dues from the statute, the Supreme Court observed that the dues which are payable or required to be credited to the treasury, such as tax, tariff, sector, which broadly fall under the ambit of the Article 23. Given that PVNL was not performing a statutory function, the Supreme Court held that its dues will not amount to government dues. Okay. Now, what does the supremacy of the IBC over Code 2003? Okay, see here we discussed this thing. Now, review of the Rainbow Papers Limited. The review petition submitted that the Supreme Court in the Rainbow Papers Limited judgment had failed to consider the waterfall mechanism under Section 53 of IBC. Was here what happened? They asked that tax due or tax liability should come under the category of the secured creditors. So that's why Rainbow Paper judgment had failed to consider the waterfall mechanism under Section 53 of the IBC. As Supreme Court observed that the review petition have been filed preliminarily on the basis of the observations made by the Supreme Court in the PVNL judgment, the Supreme Court observed that the strength of the bench in the PVNL judgment was same as the strength of the bench which had delivered the Rainbow Papers Limited judgment. Given this, the objection was made by Supreme Court in the PVNL judgment cannot be used as a ground to review the Rainbow Papers judgment. Okay. Further, the Supreme Court held that Rainbow Paper judgment has considered the waterfall mechanism and other relevant provision of the IBC. Thus, there exists no ground for maintainability of the review of the Rainbow Paper judgment. Okay, we miss the review petition submitted for the Rainbow Papers judgment. The Supreme Court said the bench strength was the same, so we cannot take plea in the on the judgment given for in the case of PVNL, we should consider or review the petition of the Rainbow Papers Limited. So the objection was given made by Supreme Court in previous judgment cannot be used as a ground to review the Rainbow Papers Limited judgment. So that was given by the Supreme Court. Okay, but here further the Supreme Court held that the Rainbow Paper judgment has considered in the waterfall mechanism and other relevant provisions of the IBC. Thus, there exists no ground for maintainability of the review of the Rainbow Paper judgment. Okay, see here. So that was the ambiguity. In one case, Supreme Court judgment given regarding Rainbow Paper Limited. So they have considered other other act. When there was a contradiction between IBC code and the sale GBAT Act, they also considered the GBAT Act and they asked the professional to give the opportunity and submit the fresh resolution plan. And in the similar case, they means when the property of the PVNL means there was a property of the company attached by the Tehsildar. So then they asked Tehsildar to to remove the attachment because moratorium was already started. So in that case, no action can be taken by any authority and any company. So that was the ambiguity. Okay, that is very important cases. Okay. Now there are another cases we will understand. But I will say that we should also see whatever we have discussed in summary, we can discuss here. See, before discussing further these cases, there is another case, jet aircraft. maintenance engineer welfare section versus Ashish Chavadia, resolution professional of Jet Airways India Limited, and with respect to GST dues. Okay, so that judgment we will discuss here. There is another judgment, Shri Metallic Limited. Another, what is the impact? Okay, so we will discuss these two judgment also. These are also very important. Okay, but before going this, we will means just we'll go through whatever we have discussed. See, in short, we will discuss so that we can understand and we can remember. So, what was the purpose of this IBC code? We have already discussed here. Okay, and whatever we have discussed, we have addressed what was the confusion and conflicts over the priority of the claims, especially statutory dues during insolvency professionals, during insolvency resolution. Okay, what was the preamble of IBC? Preamble of IBC was emphasizes alteration in the order of the payment of government dues. That was the preamble. That was the reason IBC enacted. Okay, if their intention was the revival of the companies, maximization of wealth of the company. Okay, and also included the to change or to reduce the priority of the government dues. Okay, so then here in we also for the purpose of this tax planning, treatment of pending taxability and pre-existing dues, we also discussed definition of operational debt and operational character. We discussed the tax liabilities fall under operational debts owned to operational characters, including dues payable to the government. This we covered under section 5, subsection 20 and 21, because we discussed operational regarding operational debt and operational character. Then further we discussed treatment of tax liabilities under resolution plan. When there is a resolution plan under section 32B, okay, so then requires payment to operational characters as per liquidation value for priority under section 53, whichever is higher. We have discussed under section 32, 30, subsection 2 and B. Another further PPT we discussed regulation 38(1)(a). Okay, operational character to be paid before financial character in terms of timing of the payment we discussed here. Okay, we have not said ki the priority will change here. Priority will be same. Operational character will come on fifth number, but financial characters will come on fourth number. But when comes to the payment, so then timing. When we are discussing about the payment timing, then first we will pay to operational character. Okay, we are not saying we are change the priority. Okay, now when resolution plan is approved, then it will bind on the all the stakeholders. Then this is covered under section 31, and we also discussed section 156 and 156A, 156(1). If any order is issued by income tax authority under 156, okay, when dealing with IBC code, so then now after inserting the section 161, 1A, so they have the power and they have the authority to modify their demand. Means and demand and notice amount as per the IBC code and as per the approval of the resolution plan. And after all those things, we are bound to, mean in case of companies in liquidation, we are bound to means assets proceeding, means when we are selling assets and distributing assets and proceeds of the sale of the assets. Okay, we'll have to pay the priority as per the water fall mechanism under section 53, which we have discussed. Okay, in this we have also discussed ki we will give pay tax dues up to 2 years under section 53 1E and pertaining to means before 2 years, means if there is any amount pending pertaining to last 3 years or last 3 years, so it will covered under section 53F. Okay, so then we also discussed secured means and unsecured tax dues, because normally all the dues, tax dues and government dues covered under unsecured. Okay, we treat unsecured, but means earlier there was a act, GVAT Act 48, so judgment given to treat that sale tax due amount or pending tax amount as a secured creditors. Okay, and also we discussed legal provision on first charge under tax laws, Custom Act 62, Income Tax 61, CGST Act 17 we discussed. Okay, and in further slide we also discussed what should be the role of the tax authority in IBC. They should submit their claim timely, must adhere the moratorium, must follow the approved demolition plan. Okay, so we also discussed several judgments, okay, stated by means Supreme Court, High Court, and NCLT. Okay, so there was a judgments on fresh assessment and demand post resolution. We discussed three cases: National Swing Thread Company Limited. Okay, and I argue favor private limited and MacTech Developers National Phasal Assessment. Okay, and we also discussed what will be the impact after moratorium and tax proceedings in the case of Sudarshan Bhatt and also SV Kondasar V.N. Deshpande. Okay, and as we also discussed the ambiguity in the cases stated by the Supreme Court in the case of Miss Ghanshyam Mishra and Sons. There was another case we studied, SR Steel, and there was a Rainbow Papers Limited and PV Vinyl. These case studies we discussed. Okay. So we also discussed the statutory versus government dues. All government dues are not statutory dues. Not all statutory dues are government dues. Okay. And we also discussed review and limitations of rainbow paper judgment. Okay. Now we will discuss other relevant judicial clarifications. Okay. So then we will cover Jet Airways case. Okay. See here, in short, we will discuss here these things. This is a Jet Airway case. Okay, see here. Okay, and see here. That judgment is given by NCLAT. Okay, see here. If first I will tell you this, what was the final conclusion of that Jet Airway case? The National Company Law Appellate Tribunal held that the provision of the IBC prevail over the Maharashtra Goods and Service Tax Act, particularly Section 82, which creates a first charge in favor of the state of for tax dues. The ruling crafted that once a moratorium under Section 14 of the IBC is in place, no corrective recovery proceeding, including attachment of sale of property of GST dues, can continue. This distribution of asset must be made according to the waterfall mechanism under Section 53 of IBC, not based on the priority given under the state law. Okay. What was the key principle? IBC has an overriding effect under Section 238 and supersedes inconsistent provision of any state legislation, including tax laws. Okay. So see here, means in Jet Airways, also in the judgment given by NCLAT, stated that when moratorium starts, no any legal action can be taken against that company. Okay, and distribution of assets should be as per the IBC code, as per the waterfall mechanism, under the section 53. Okay, because IBC has an overriding effect under the section 238 and supersedes inconsistency when there is any consistency with provision of any other state or legal, means there is any taxation authority or any other act. So then IBC has an overriding effect. Okay, see here. NCLT usually observed that the ruling in the rainbow paper simply couldn't be applied in the Jet Airways case due to the, see, in rainbow paper limited we have considered as a secured guidance, but in this case we will not consider as a secured guidance. Could not be applied in the Jet Airways case due to the specific exemption under section 82. Okay, Maharashtra Goods Act, which provides for precedence of the IBC over section 82 of the Maharashtra GST Act. The Central Goods and Services Act 17 as set out below, notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained in any law for the time being in force, save as otherwise provided in the insolvency bankruptcy code, any amount payable by a taxable person or any other person or an account of tax, interest or penalty which he is able to pay to the government shall be a first charge on the property of such taxable person or such person. Okay, see here. Means in this judgment, they have not taken and accepted the ruling judgment on the railway judgment. Okay, so that means we can say if means when they asked ki, they said ki section 82 creates a first charge. Okay, but the ruling clarified that once a moratorium under section 43 started, so then no recovery proceeding, including attachment or sale of property, can be done. Okay, because IBC has the means supremacy in the law when there is any contradiction between another law. Okay. In the same, there is also a very important case. Siri Metallics Limited, Additional Director General and others, with respect to custom dues. Delhi High Court in Siri Metallic case distinguishes between the rainbow paper judgment. Under section 42 of the Custom Act, the dues of custom authorities had first charge in respect of liability under the Custom Act. That is okay. But when this act is means dealing with IBC code, then they don't have first charge. We already discussed it. It was held that the given that specific exemption is provided under the section 142A of the Custom Act, which provides for presence of the IBC over section 142A of the Custom Act, the rainbow power judgment will not be applicable. Further, it was observed that the factual matrix in the rainbow power paper judgment was different, given that it involved the filing of the claim post the last date of submission of claims and after the resolution plan was approved by the NCLT. In every judgment, in every case, me other means persons were giving the reference of the Rainbow Papers Limited, because they know कि in that judgment given means considered as a secured creditor in every time, in every cases, means the reference was given regarding the rainbow judgment. Okay, now what happened here? However, in this Medley case, the statutory authorities never submitted the proof of claim. Okay, so then see here. So then, what was the final conclusion? We can discuss here. See, in this case, what happened? The court held that the customer authorities cannot enforce recovery or dues or claim priority over assets once a company is undergoing the insolvency procedure under the IBC code. Section 142 of the Custom Acts, which gives powers to recover dues as a land revenue doesn't override the moratorium and waterfall provision of the IBC code, the claim of the custom department are to be treated as operational debt and must be submitted to the resolution and considered under the resolution plan. We above also we discussed the section 142 as per Custom Act have the means they stated which gives the power to recover dues. But when any company is under CRP or means liquidation, means when 142 or custom department means dealing with the IBC code, so then they will have to follow the IBC code and they will have to act to the IBC code. So in the situation, what should be what should be done? The claim of the custom department are to be treated as a operational debt. They cannot means recover as a land revenue. They cannot means recover from the sale of the asset. They cannot take any legal action. Okay, because when IBC code in the picture, so then IBC code will have the overriding effect over the section 142 of the Custom Act. Okay. So now, what was the key principle was there? The IBC overrides other central legislations, including the Custom Act, due to the non-obstance clause in section 238, and ensures all creditors are dealt with through a unified mechanism. Okay. Now, impact of dismissal of review of the rainbow paper judgment. The rainbow paper judgment has effectively made the payment of secured government dues as a mandatory content for approval of resolution plan. Given this, financial creditors are required to take a higher haircut, which will impact the overall recovery for financial creditors under the IBC. Okay, see here. See, before enacting IBC code, there was a Industrial Sikh Companies Act was there. So in that was what was happening in this means act or this in this law, the statutory or government dues preference was on priority. So that was the reason companies were not surviving, because when dues will be paid to the first the government, then you will not be able to make the payment to the means financial creditor. Okay, and you will not be able to survive the business. That was the problem. In this case, what will happen if any means priority is will given to the authority considering as a secured creditor, then what will happen? Then means who will suffer? Then financial creditor will suffer. For example, if financial creditor submitted claims of 100 crore and there is a tax due is 50 crore. Okay, so then what will happen here? They will have to, if this is also covered under the means secure creditor, and there is a recovery means for selling of the company's assets is say 80 crore, then what will happen? Then we will have to means distribute this in proportionately. So then directly it will impact to the financial creditor. So the purpose of the IBC code will defeat. So that also very clearly mentioned in claimable to reduce the priority of the government dues or statute dues. So in this case, this thing was not happened. Okay, now additionally, given the dismissal of the review petition, the ambiguity in the treatment of the statute dues continue to persist with the PVVNL judgment and the rainbow paper judgment, providing for different treatments to statute dues. Okay, see here. Now, there was a similar case of PVNL. PVNL, they were supplying the electricity to the means company, but here, then Tahsildar means taken over the asset of the company to recover the tax dues and means that statutory dues. So then, so Supreme Court asked key to means not to take over the assets and return the assets to the company so that assets can be sold and distribution of the proceeds can be done as per the vote of all mechanism under section 53. So that was the different treatment given in both the cases. So that was the means ambiguity in this case. In one case, Supreme Court is saying कि कि statutory payment will be considered as a secured creditors when assets will be considered as a secured creditor. Then what will happen? It means that company have the right over the assets. Okay, that's why they are considering as a this use under this secured creditors. In here, what is happening when company is already taken over the asset and recovering from the assets? Okay, so they are saying no, you cannot take over the asset of the company. You will have to follow the IBC code. Okay, when they were doing means as per their act, so they are saying the IBC have the override impact. Here, if we have considered another act along with the IBC code, and in this case, we are saying there is no inconsistency with the IBC code with that Gujarat that act. So that is the ambiguity. Okay, that was the problem in this judgments. Okay, whether we should follow this judgment, whether we should follow this judgment. Okay, now further cases aims. Okay, so then companies and other stakeholders also giving the plea and giving the reference of the rainbow paper judgment. Then court is rejecting their petitions on the basis of rainbow judgments. So that is the reason. If same court is one case is saying as to means consider as a secure creditor, another is saying not to consider as secure creditor. Okay. Okay. Now, a reference to a larger bench of the Supreme Court is required to clear the ambiguity created by the different rulings on the crucial question on law. Okay, see here, a reference to a larger bench. Okay, the Supreme Court is required to clear this ambiguity should be clear by the Supreme Court because there is the ambiguity. A reference to a larger bench should me see what is the ambiguity and give us the clear cut means situation. This is a critical question of law. Okay, so why these are the rulings are different in these two cases actually. So it will be good if larger bench of the Supreme Court will clear this picture and remove this ambiguity. If there is any ambiguity is there, to need to remove, and it will be good for the purpose of the IBC code also, and also for other stakeholders, which on that basis, if any stakeholders are referring these cases, so it will be good for those companies and stakeholders. Okay, now alternatively, an amendment in ABC may also clarify this issue. Okay, another option is this. However, one aspect is clear that in view of the precedents following the rainbow paper judgment, the rainbow paper judgment will not be applicable in cases where the underlying provision of for creation of security interest also provides for a specific exemption from precedents of the IBC code over such matter. Okay, see here. Clearly, means what we say. However, one aspect is clear that in view of the precedents following the rainbow paper judgment, the rainbow paper judgment will not be applicable in cases, okay, where the underlying provision for creation of security interest also provides a specific exemption for precedents of the IBC over such provisions. Okay, see here. So this need to more clarity in case if there is need to be change in amendment in IBC code. Otherwise, there should be clarity regarding this ambiguity by the Honorable Supreme Court in larger bench, so that it will be really helpful for us to understand and to take further step or action within reference to these judgments. Okay, because these judgments are, when there is ambiguity, it creates confusion and it's also increased litigation. Okay, so that is the reason, means regarding ambiguity, action need to be taken. It will be good. Okay, now this was on this topic from my side. If you have any question, we can discuss. Otherwise, we will close this session. I hope you understand this with the help of the judgment and these IBC clauses and this all those things. If you have any question, please ask. Otherwise, we can close this session. Okay, if you don't have any question, we can. Okay, if you don't have any question, we can close this session. Thanks to everyone.
Sir, am I audible?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Sir, I have one query. If I can
Yes.
put it before
Yes, yes.
for the discussion and better understanding. Sir, typically in one of the case, what I have observed is there is a continuous request for assessment by the department for the
Can
two
you,
period.
can you please speak loudly? I'm unable to hear you.
Just a minute. Let me just connect through some other. Just a minute.
Yes. Just tell me, otherwise I will also share my number.
Yeah, sure. Just.
Just tell me what you are saying.
Hello. Now
Yes,
it's
yes.
better?
Yes.
Yeah. So, sir, in case of one of the income tax matter, in case of a CD into CRP, there were requests for reopening of assessment for the pre-CRP, and there were requests also for the assessment during CRP for the year, because the CRP continued for more than 2 years. There are assessments which are due for the CRP period also. Now, the stand of department is that in both the cases, they have passed some suo motu orders, in spite of we requesting them that, the company is into CRP and you cannot initiate any new proceedings. And though we replied to the requirement or the details which has been sought by the department, but we always made it a point that during the CRP, you cannot, conclude any assessment, or even if you conclude it, you cannot initiate the recovery action. But sir, the main issue is with respect to the resolution applicant, when we represented mainly the issue of carry forward losses vis-a-vis the business during the CRP. So the department has basically raised the demand for the assessment year, which are falling under the CRP period. And there, basically, due to non-availability of carry forward losses, which they had rejected due to their earlier order, we are facing issue with respect to the, we are SRAs are raising concern that, the CR during the CRP, you should have not, allowed department to continue with this type of orders, as well as concluding the assessment order for the CRP period. But, we have a very limited say in how department conducts this type of assessment, in spite of, representation and submission of details.
See, you have submitted, means there is a approved resolution plan or not?
So now there is a plan which has been approved, and now these orders have come.
You have received order before.
No. So there is no. So during the pendency of CRP and after the approval of resolution plan by COC.
No, if you see, if there is any proceeding, if they are going any proceeding, now they can do, but they cannot submit means further any demand, which we have discussed here.
Correct. But what about the during CRP? They have at least concluded for the period during the CRP. They have concluded the assessment as the ex party.
No, they see. If moratorium start now, so they cannot do. See, if the moratorium already started, if they raise any demand, okay, so then it will not be acceptable by you.
Correct.
Because moratorium is there, na. So see, they can do any assessment, reassessment, any recalculation. There is no problem. But in case of if resolution plan approved, if they are doing with more demand, so then you will not accept. If there is a moratorium start, and if they are doing okay and raising any demand, you will not accept.
So, but typically so my confusion is with respect to the period during CRP. So now in our case, what has happened is that the plan has been submitted to NCLT, and these assessment order are passed after the submission of plan with the NCLT.
So then you will not consider that. See here, if after moratorium, if they raise any demand notice, this is not acceptable as per the IBC code 2016.
Even if it is pertaining to the CRP period, you are saying.
I'm again telling you, if there is a moratorium start.
Right.
So then
Got your point.
if they are, if they think if there is any problem, so they can go to the NCLT, because you cannot do anything. For example, you are bound to work as a court officer and you are reporting to NCLT.
Correct.
Okay. If tax department goes to the NCLT, then NCLT says you and instruct that, then it's okay. But if in normal circumstances, as per IBC code, you will not do anything.
Okay. Fair point. Fair.
Okay.
Fair. Thanks a lot, sir.
Okay,
Thanks
thanks.
a lot.
Okay, thank you.
On behalf of Team ICCI IIP, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to you for taking out time and addressing session for workshop on the topic tax planning under IBC. Thank you, sir, for sharing your experience and learning and making the session interactive and insightful. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.